Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Tactical Masterclass, a new show from theScore that previews marquee matches and breaks down key tactical trends in world football. I'm Gianluca Nesci.
I'm Anthony Lopopolo.
And despite what it looks like, I promise you we did not coordinate these outfits today. We'll do a better job next time on this one. Nevertheless, Anthony, what are we going to be looking at here today?
Today we're answering a question that's probably kept Ole Gunnar Solskjaer up all night ever since the Champions League draw was made, and that's how do you stop Messi in Barcelona?
It really is the million-dollar question for so many managers in world football, and you can never really stop him, I don't think. But we're going to examine some formations that Solskjaer might use to try and slow down this Barcelona juggernaut. All right, so the first formation we're going to take a look at here is the 4-3-3. Anthony, this is the one that Solskjaer's preferred since he took over for Jose Mourinho. When he's got all of his players fit, he typically goes with Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Jesse Lingard, in front of a midfield three of Paul Pogba, Nemanja Matic dropping deep, and Ander Herrera here running around like a madman, covering all over the pitch. So what's the kind of system, what kind of wrinkles are we going to see in this system to help counteract Barcelona's strengths?
Well, Barcelona usually uses a 4-3-3. In the Champions League, that's been the case. They sometimes go to a 4-4-2, but we're going to say that they also mimic a 4-3-3 formation. And the key piece here is that Messi has the freedom to move wherever he pleases.
That's right. So Messi nominally will start out over here, but he can come out wide, get isolated one-on-one on the fullback, drop super deep right behind Sergio Busquets and orchestrate play. And if he wants to, he can even push all the way up high beside Luis Suarez and form a really lethal front two.
Now, what Herrera might do is what he did against Chelsea in 2017 when he man-marked Eden Hazard, and that would require a very diligent effort on his part. But what Messi will do, as he tends to do, is drift into different positions, and Herrera will have to find a way to mark him all the way through the pitch.
So obviously this is going to create a little bit of a tactical imbalance here. The key guy, I think, in this formation is Jesse Lingard. In my opinion, one of the best defensive forwards in world football. He's going to have to hook back in here, create a sort of unbalanced 4-3-1-2 formation, because then, Anthony, you also have Paul Pogba, who's going to want to push up high.
And that'll leave space for Jordi Alba to move into, and that could be problematic for Manchester United if they cannot cover that space in time.
A key thing that we've seen as well from Barca for a long time now, balls from Messi, diagonal over the top to Jordi Alba making that run. So Herrera's going to have to cut off that supply line. Nemanja Matic is going to have to come over and try to double team, and you're probably looking at Anthony Martial staying super high to pin the right back in his own end. So obviously a lot of moving parts in that 4-3-3. The players would have to be super concentrated. One mistake, you get torn to shreds by Barcelona. So we could potentially see Solskjaer opt instead for a 4-2-3-1 here. Now, I personally don't like this formation, Anthony. I think it puts some players in some really tough positions.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple math at this point. You have three midfielders against two, and I mean, once they move up the pitch, you're going to have Matic and Herrera basically by themselves, and you'll have Pogba. I mean, he loves to play in a free roam. We all know that he loves to attack, and if he doesn't track back, that's a big problem for Manchester United, and Barcelona will basically have a chance to move into all these free spaces, and Messi, of course, it's a harder task for Herrera to even man-mark him if that's even a possibility.
Especially if he decides to drop super deep and play beside Busquets. Then you're basically looking at 4-on-2 in midfield. We know Messi, a master at exploiting situations, manipulating space. You're basically giving him free rein to tear you apart.
Now, another big problem with the 4-2-3-1 is that you have a massive space over here that Lingard will have to make sure that he takes care of. And that could free Jordi Alba to get a nice ball for Messi and put him in a one-on-one situation with either Ashley Young or Antonio Valencia. And I don't really fancy either of them in a defensive formation.
That's not really a great matchup for Manchester United. So Ole Gunnar, if you're watching, ditch the 4-2-3-1. Last but not least, we have the good old-fashioned 4-4-2. This is the system that United used in that famous come-from-behind win against PSG. Controversial win. That's a topic for another day. If Solskjaer decides that sitting back and trying to hit on the counterattack is the best way to approach this, maybe rehashing this formation is actually a viable option for him.
I'm really interested in this part because we've seen Pogba play in the World Cup and more recently now for Manchester United, playing a deeper role where he's able to launch long balls into vacant areas of the pitch. And In this case, he'll have Marcus Rashford to latch onto those balls. He uses great speed, kind of like Kylian Mbappe in the World Cup where he scored that famous goal against Croatia. And these are the type of situations that Barcelona will have to be careful of, especially when they have the majority of possession.
It really gives Manchester United an out ball, right? You know you're going to be soaking up a ton of pressure sitting deep, so it gives you two options out wide. And then Pogba, with that great passing range, can hit them from 50, 60 yards away. The other thing I'm really interested in here with this formation, the Barcelona fullbacks or wingers, Jordi Alba, Ousmane Dembele, whoever it is, Manchester United is going to be able to double up in these areas here. So you're not going to get overrun because you can drop back the wide midfielder and have 2-on-1, or at the very worst, a 2-on-2 situation. So I think the big takeaway here is that there's no real good way to try and stop Barcelona, as we've seen so many times this season against so many other clubs. Solskjaer is going to really have to get creative if Manchester United wants to pull off another big Champions League comeback.
If you want more analysis like this on everything that's happening in world football, check out the theScore app.
And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and download the Sweeper Keeper podcast, available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.